When it comes to being in an abusive relationship with a narcissist, the best way to heal is to get out of the relationship. Why? Because being around a narcissist is like inhaling toxic fumes. The only way to heal is to remove yourself from the environment that is making you sick. But what happens if you can't leave? What if the timing is not right, or a lot would be at stake if you were to leave at this time? How do you cope and how do you survive? In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 tips on how to survive and maybe even thrive while being in a relationship with a narcissist. Now, first, before we get into it, for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I'm Shaneen Megji. I'm a coach that helps people to heal and recover their identities from toxic relationships. I also help people to successfully navigate difficult life transitions. So welcome to my channel on Toxicity is Not Your Destiny. I create these videos to help you navigate toxic relationships in your life from a biblical, practical, and spiritual perspective. So if you'd like to receive regular content from me on this subject, take a moment, click that subscribe button, and click that bell, because I'm going to be bringing you videos on a regular basis to empower you in navigating toxic relationships. My goal is to get a video out every week or so. So without further ado, let's dive into the subject. Narcissists are toxic. Their abuse is subtle and long-term. Their daily put-downs are like death by 1,000 cuts. Their words are like drips of cyanide seeping into your pores daily. It is a slow death happening in plain view of everyone, but no one notices. Unless a person goes through it, they really don't get it. Perhaps some of you feel like there's no way you can end the relationship. You're hoping there could be a way to make it work, to still find a way to heal and strengthen yourself while being in the relationship. Well, here's what it's like being in a relationship with a narcissist. It's like living in a war zone. Any country that is at war against another country will use all its resources to fight. It's not thinking at all about building. It's really focused on the fighting and the protection of its borders. Building only happens in times of peace or after the war has ended. And so if you want to build your identity or life while being in a relationship with a narcissist, it's very difficult, because it's like trying to build up a city in a time of war. Either you use your resources to fight in the war or to build, but it's difficult to do both at the same time. Now, all that being said, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can build while being in the war at the same time. If you cannot leave because the timing is not right or there's far more at stake, well, you can trust God to give you the strength to persevere. So let's dive into the 5 tips. Tip number 1. Put as much physical space between you and the narcissist. If you have to live in the same house, see if you can sleep and do your life activities in the furthest corner of the house so you can limit as much contact and interactions as possible. Or go and live in a different environment altogether. Move as far away as you can. Ultimately, the goal is to forge a separate and independent life from them as much as possible, even while you have to be in the relationship. It is to create as little contact and interactions with them as possible. Why? Because their words are like daggers and knives. So you must set as much boundary as possible to avoid getting stabbed with those knives. If they can assault you with a tirade of words and curses, then limit your interactions to texts and emails only. If they have a habit of blowing up your phone with toxic texts, then restrict communications to only emails. Do everything in your power to put as much physical space and communication space as possible. There's a verse in the Bible that says it is better to live on the corner of a roof than with a nagging wife. So if a woman who nags can drive a husband to live on the corner of a roof, then a person who constantly cuts with their words, lies, deceives, and batters with their tongue would drive a spouse to live on the other side of a planet. Tip number 2. Do everything in your power to make yourself strong in secret without the narcissist knowing what you're doing. Cultivate new, healthy, life-giving relationships. Spend more time with God. Upgrade your skills. Pursue new hobbies and interests. Take a course. Learn how to love your own company. Take yourself out on your own fun adventures and dates. And don't let on to the narcissist that you are doing these things, because this could provoke their envy and jealousy. And it could also threaten their sense of grandiosity, because you are making yourself stronger, and that is a real threat to them. If they consider themselves to be like a big tree in the garden of your relationship together, and they see you as a shrub beside them, and suddenly you start growing taller and extending your branches, because of all these things you are doing to strengthen yourself, they're not going to like that. They will probably grab a machete and start lopping off your branches. So be discreet and go underground with your activities. Give an appearance of your life being flat and just status quo, so they can continue to believe their lie that your life is meaningless without them, or that it is them who is superior in the relationship. Then you will be under the radar, and you can continue making progress to get stronger and stronger without them noticing, or with them noticing as little as possible. Now listen, I understand some of you may feel uncomfortable to give an impression that isn't real, because it is not your nature to be this way. You don't like withholding information. You prefer to be real and transparent. But listen, Jesus calls us to be as innocent as doves and as shrewd as snakes. The narcissist in your life has not given you any choice but to respond in a discreet and concealed way, because he or she has chronically not made it safe for you to be real and transparent. And Matthew 7:6 says, "Do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces." Proverbs also says, "Guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life." So do everything in your power to become independent, financially independent, relationally independent. Have a support and network of friends that do not include the narcissist. Do everything in your power, like I said, to be financially independent if you are married to the narcissist, and do this as much as possible without letting on what you are doing. Be as quiet and discreet about it as possible. Tip number 3, have flat and neutral emotions around the narcissist. If you are happy or exhilarated or feeling content because good things are happening to you, don't let on, because a narcissist will feel threatened, insecure, and possibly paranoid if they see that you are having positive emotions and they are not the source of them. A narcissist cannot accept that you could be happy or fulfilled outside of them, and so they are likely to poke holes and find fault with anything you are doing that is bringing you happiness or fulfillment. If the narcissist happens to be mad at you or stewing in anger because of something you did prior to your moment of happiness or exhilaration, they will feel very tempted and entitled to punish you or become driven to sabotage your success. In their minds, because you crossed them, you ought to be punished, and you do not deserve to have good things happening to you. The narcissist believes wholeheartedly that it is their job to punish you and sabotage things in your life in order to teach you a lesson. Tip number 4, get a support system in place. Make sure you have friends and or family members that you trust who know the truth about what is going on in your relationship with the narcissist. People that you can draw on for love, for support, for prayer. It would also be a good idea to find a counselor or a coach or a spiritual minister who understands narcissistic abuse to help you navigate the turbulent waters in your relationship with the narcissist. There is no getting around the hurtful, callous ways that a narcissist can behave. No matter how strong you get, a narcissist will continue to do things to provoke you that will be deeply hurtful. There may be betrayals and triangulations and people to do their bidding to extend secondhand abuse to you, and massive gaslighting. All these things can take a toll on you, so it is important that you have support systems in place, such as family members, friends, a counselor, a coach, to help you deal with the pain and abuse and navigate it by God's strength and power. I just want to encourage you that Jacob in the Old Testament worked for his psychopathic, narcissistic father-in-law for 20 years, and he suffered all kinds of injustices, and God was clearly with him. God still blessed the work of Jacob's hands, and God did not let him leave his father-in-law as a destitute man. He and his family were well provided for despite Laban's attempt to take everything away from Jacob. So trust in God. Put God in the driver's seat of your life, where he is in charge and leading the way, and you will find that you will have access to his grace and supernatural strength. You can trust that he too will be with you and keep you from harm and keep you from destitution while you are in the midst of a toxic relationship. Tip number 5. Get away frequently. Visit other family or friends or go on trips for weeks or days or even months at a time to have some respite from the toxic environment and to get yourself in an atmosphere where there is clean air to inhale. It's important that you get away regularly, just as sometimes we need to detox our bodies and our systems from unhealthy diets or pollution, maybe pollution of the city, by going into nature. In many ways, living with a narcissist is like being in an environment where you are breathing toxic, harmful chemicals. So it is vital that you incorporate into your lifestyle a rhythm of detoxing from this toxicity in the relationship that you're in. I hope these tips were helpful. And just to clarify, I'm not advocating that you should stay in the relationship with the narcissist indefinitely, but life is complicated and not everything is in black and white. Sometimes leaving is not an option because there are other people involved, or it can jeopardize other things that are far more serious. So if you're in that type of situation, I do hope these tips were helpful to keep you hanging in there and trusting God. And if you are thinking of leaving or have left a toxic environment and you are in a season of transition, check out a free training that I have put together. It is all about 3 key ways to navigate a difficult transition. These are things that brought a massive breakthrough in my life when I was going through a difficult transition. I have included the link in the description box below. If you would like to see more content from me and have not subscribed yet, click that subscribe button and click the bell so that you can get the alerts, because I'm going to be posting a video on a regular basis to empower you in navigating toxic relationships in your life. And if you have comments or ideas of other topics you would like me to cover, please feel free to drop your ideas in the comments section. And this brings me to the end of my video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.